Hi, I'm Alex Twinspark and welcome back to Twinspark Reviews. Now, for the last few weeks we've had nothing but sensible, hatchbacks, economical hatchbacks that make a lot of sense for young drivers. So today we've got another sensible choice for your young driver out there. So today we have a Lexus LS430, which is not at all a mouthful to say, and it's huge. I feel like I'm wearing my dad's jacket stood next to this. I am absolutely dwarfed. But here's the fun thing. The owner, David, who we'll chat to in a second, is 22. So this is owned by a young person. This is a sensible daily driver option for young people. And I'm going to prove it to you throughout the course of this review. Now, unsurprisingly, I don't know a lot about this because, I don't put any research into these. I'm really not professional at all. So we're going to have a chat to the owner now. So in a second, you'll see me with David. Right, so it's been a second and we're here with David. So I linked that in there. You'll love me there and everything, Joe. Anyway, so you are 22, yes?
Correct. Yes.
And your previous car was a VW Polo Blue GT.
That is right.
That was a mouthful. So why did you go from a car so small as a Polo to the boat?
Not really sure, to be honest. Just something that I wanted to do, really. Luxury, comfort, compared to the sporty ride of a Polo.
I'm assuming obviously this has got air ride, hasn't it? So this is going to be quite comfortable.
Yeah.
So how long have you had this for?
Bought it in September last year.
So similar time to when I bought my MR2, and yours is faring a lot better than mine, I'm noticing, which is a little embarrassing. So what do you like about this car? What makes you keep it? What drives you to enjoy it so much?
The comfort, really, and the reliability. That was the main focus of buying a Lexus rather than a Jag or any other luxury car, I suppose.
Okay, because obviously this is just Toyota parts underneath.
Yes.
And as we all know from my Toyota, they are completely infallible in every way. What don't you like about this car?
The MPG.
That's
for sure. Yeah.
It's a 4.3 V8.
4.3 V8.
So what MPG are you averaging?
Probably around 12 around town. But it did do 40 on the motorway here, so...
So in this current I want to point out on the way down today we saw fuel at 1.75 a litre for petrol. Is that beginning to sting just a little bit?
Yes.
Is it worth the sting though?
Yes, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
So let's find out just how worth the sting it is. So that was David there telling us about why he's bought it, and let's have a look at it, shall we? I mean, for a start, it does look like a knockoff Mercedes. Not in the most complimentary way. Not the ugliest car in the world, and it certainly has a presence to it. I will say, as it arrived earlier, we were looking at it, and it's huge. It doesn't show on camera, because every time you see the photos of it, I'm hoping me being dwarfed next to it gives you a sense of scale, but this thing is massive. I mean, I could walk my morning constitutional to the back and come back again. It's massive. Now under this bonnet there's a 4.3 litre V8 which is plenty powerful, however plenty thirsty, which for your younger drivers out there, that is a slight issue, especially these days. But there are other benefits. For example, it's got plenty of power. So any of those times you've been on the motorway in your Polo, your Fiesta, thinking, I'm going to have power to overtake here, you do not have that issue in this. If you want stats on the speed, according to the owner, this does 0 to 60 in 6.8 seconds, which embarrassingly is almost a full second faster than my MR2 sports car. Luxury barge, faster than my sports car. That's a kick in the shame, that is. Now the other thing is, while this is quite big and, compared to your Clio, your Fiesta, your whatever as a first car, you might be thinking, oh, that makes it, difficult to drive. But the advantage of that is the practicality, because you might be thinking when you go shopping or something like that, oh, I haven't got enough space for this or that, or not the case here, because if I show you the boot, now you'll notice the boot lid itself is already about the size of the deck of the USS Enterprise, fairly big. However, the boot itself gets so much bigger on the inside. Oh Christ, the gas struts are gone on it, which makes it a little bit heavy. You'll notice there's enough spacing here for the original people who, were meant to have this. So you can have, I think it's 2 sets of golf clubs, or if you're in the Japanese mafia, 2 dead bodies. As a young person, this is perfect for, shopping. You can get plenty of beer, plenty of milk. especially milk in this one, unfortunately, as David found out the hard way when he spilt milk all over the back seat. So it does smell a little bit in here right now. Thankfully, this is not in smell-o-vision. Now, normally when you've got a large boot on a car, it completely robs your rear passengers of any legroom, of any, space at all. Not the case here, as you're about to find out, actually. So let's have a look inside, shall we? I'm just going to allow this seat to move back to allow me easier form of entry. Now, you'll notice that I started in the back of the car as opposed to the front, where I normally start, because there's too much back here to not show off to you. Now, for a start, this is the most legroom I've had in any vehicle in my life. I could do, some gymnastics back here if I really wanted to, but if I thought, I want to be more laid back, I've got a fully electric seat in the back of the car. I've also got a fully massaging seat, which is, ooh, okay, maybe that's not the best, but you've still got plenty of adjustability. You've got dual zone climate control in the back. Underneath this collection of, oh dear, very disturbing receipts for all of the fuel, which is a lot, used by this car since David's bought it. You can go into here, you've got fully heated seats as well. I can play with the blind back here from this the center console. I've got 2 cup holders. I've got so many forms of aircon. I've got some in the roof. I've never seen aircon in the roof before. What's that about? I can also, if I really wanted to, move the front seat out of my way if I wanted more legroom, because if you're in the back, you are clearly a lot more dignified and distinguished than anyone in the front. Which David tells me there's no lock-off button for that. So if your friend has got one of these and you are in the back and they've got someone in the front, you can just fold them up. So this is one of the few cars where I feel like if the owner doesn't like you that much, that's why you're in the front, not the back. We've also got a fridge. How many cars have you driven with a fridge? We've also got things like, so I can control the radio from here, which obviously I can't do on camera for copyright reasons, but I've also got a air purifier. I didn't know you can get air purifiers on cars. This is insane. Compare this to your Polo or your Clio, or maybe if you really fancy a Golf. How can you justify not having this much luxury, this much opulence for the same money? Through the magic of editing, I'm now in the front of the car, and it's no less dignified or specced out up here either. Again, dual zone climate control, which I'm now finding out you can control the front from the back. So again, I really love the idea that you can be a chauffeur-driven person going, oh, I don't like my driver. You can boil now, which I feel isn't the best for driver-passenger relations, but you've got that option should you want it. But again, up here, you've got so much you can play with. You've got heated and cooled seats. I don't know if these ones are massaging, but we'll find out later on, I guess. You've got adjustable suspension. So if I wanted to raise or lower the ride height, I can. If I want to firm up the dampers, I can. It's like being in a spaceship up here. You've also got about 1 million cubby holes. So under this one here, we've got a 6 CD changer. The car is from 2005. We've also got, tape player. The car is from 2005. But we've also got things like this ashtray, which is unnecessarily fancy with this folding out method. And this other ashtray, which I'm told is blocked by a golf tee, which says a lot about the type of people who bought these new, per se. And you've also got this absolutely gargantuan cubbyhole space in the middle. All one piece, all folding out. No extra flapping up for you here. Also got a very weird keyless ignition. I've only seen this once before in a Suzuki Swift, not the one we reviewed last week, a very different one. Wherein I've got the key in my hand. However, there is a knob on the, dashboard where the key would go. And in fact, in this one, you actually can plug the key into it should you want to. But if you can't be bothered, you have to put your hand here and still just start up like normal, as if you had a key. So I don't know what that saves, but you've got it as an option. Now, normally on these, I will talk about, where each car is going to shine, and this is obviously a car that's designed to be on the motorway cruising around all the time with a passenger in the back. But I'm doing something slightly different this time, because I want to prove to young drivers who think that, you know, a big car is something to be worried about, that you don't need to. So yes, I'm going to test drive it on the motorway because I've got a 4.3 litre V8 that I get to play with today, and I'm not passing that chance up. But I'm going to prove that actually these are easy and sensible and not very stressful at all to drive with around town, despite the size. So, without further ado, with one of the quietest V8s I've ever heard, let's go find out. Hey! Jesus, that's quick. Right, so we are on the motorway, and unsurprisingly for this part of England, it's currently on an average speed zone, and it's lower than it's meant to be because roadworks or traffic or something. There's always some sort of excuse. So, what's it like to drive on the motorway? The car that's designed to be driven on the motorway for mile after mile after mile in pure comfort. Well, unsurprisingly, it's very, very comfortable. These seats are incredibly comfy to be in, especially when you've got the heated and cooled leather. I'm currently got the cooling on, which admittedly could be a lot better, especially because the air conditioning in this at the moment is due a regas. So I am rather warm, hence why I've de-jacketed for these shots. But it's so well refined in here. We've had the sunroof open for a lot of today while I've been chatting with David, and it's quieter in here with the sunroof open than a lot of cars with everything shut. It is really, really well engineered. Now, because I live in the Midlands, every bit of the motorway around me is average speed zone, so it's very difficult to accurately show you just how much poke this 4.3 litre V8 has, because it's an average speed zone and I cannot go more than 60 miles an hour. But as a bit of an example, here's 50 to 60. I'm going to put my foot down now. And 60. Once the kickdown actually kicks in, there is absolutely no delay, there's nothing. Yes, alright, the kickdown takes a couple of seconds, but it's boom, and you're up 10 miles an hour before you even notice it. I could very easily see myself accidentally doing 100 in this, completely oblivious, because once you're actually up at any speed, it's so quiet and sort of, you feel quite disconnected from the road in a very positive way. There are other cars that you drive and you feel disconnected, you feel quite panicky. Double glazed windows, everything is quite, you know, well put together. There's a fair bit of sound deadening everywhere. You feel quite disconnected from the world. I feel more relaxed in this than most things I've been in. I feel more relaxed in this than I do on a train, and I'm having to actually actively put work into driving it. And in terms of smoothness, Joe actually uses a gimbal on his lap to film stuff half this. We've got a GoPro on the windscreen and a gimbal but there. The gimbal normally has to work quite hard because Joe's been bounced around and he's having to do all this with his hand. It's barely working at all at the moment. The riding here is that smooth. So, if you want to compare this to, you know, your Fiesta or your Polo as your, you know, young person car, none of them are going to ride this nicely. None of them are going to have this much poke on the motorway. Admittedly, they will probably do a lot better on fuel. This is averaging 28.7 right now. Not great, but if you can ignore that in these times of £1.75 a litre, it's a great car. Now, of course, it's absolutely no surprise that the car, purposely built, you know, for cruising along the motorway all the time, is good on the motorway. So, if you're a young driver, majority of the time, let's be honest, you're not going to be out here. Most drivers, in fairness, aren't really out on the motorway that often. So the real interesting thing to look at is what's it like off the motorway. To do that, well, funny enough, we have to come off the motorway. So let's find out, shall we? Now, about town, there are some things that will be a lot more different than perhaps you're used to. For example, this is an automatic. Now, I don't drive many automatics. That itself isn't that big of a difference, but the handbrake is on a foot pedal in this, which means you have to keep reminding yourself not to clutch in every time you pull up at a set of lights because you put the handbrake on. As I just learnt the hard way pulling off the motorway. Sorry, David. Still very comfortable. Again, this is an executive car built for executives who are driving about doing their daily businessing in their business car. That was a sentence. That's online for everyone to know now, so that's great. Now, in terms of the size, what's quite nice in here, while it does look massive on the outside, it doesn't feel huge on the inside. Yes, I'm spacious. I've got ample room to do my disco dancing in, but I'm not feeling like I'm wide. I'm not feeling like I'm overly large on the road. I don't feel size anxiety as you would say in a pickup truck or a Jesus. Now there's something about this car that is a bit disconcerting, is the brakes. I had to emergency stop there. This is a very heavy vehicle and the brakes certainly do not hide that fact. You are very much aware that every time you brake there's a lot of nothing, and then it starts to squeeze on very slowly. If you do drive one of these as your everyday car about town, make sure you leave a gap between you and the car in front. That's all I'll say. They stop, but you do feel nervous doing it. Now, while this does have adaptive sport suspension if you want it, it doesn't work that well on a roundabout, so do expect a fair bit of lean as we go around this roundabout at 20 miles an hour. That's not necessarily a bad thing, it's still very comfortable, but it does kind of expect you to be a bit slower. The other thing as well is I'm in traffic and it interacts with traffic quite nicely. Again, it doesn't feel like it's massive. Where the size comes in on this is majority in its length. Width itself, not bad at all. So I'm not having difficulty sort of interacting with other cars on the road. I'm not having difficulty finding gaps to fit in because, well, it fits in the gaps. I'm coming up to this slight gap in the junction here. Lovely. No problems whatsoever. I don't feel like I'm in a truck, which I know a lot of young people especially, tend to feel like big cars will do. You are expected to think that a big car is huge and you can't fit anywhere and everything's a major difficulty to make any progress. It's not the case. I'm equally as nimble now as I am in my MR2, albeit maybe not quite as sprightly. The other thing about this is because it's so smooth, everything you do is smooth. There's no big kick to the engine, there's no loudness, there's no nothing. You don't feel the need to drive like a yob, which for a lot of young people is maybe a good thing. I have the power in this to absolutely decimate most Fiestas around me. I have the power to do 155, absolutely no questions asked. I don't feel the need because what would be the point? It feels like taking candy from a baby. It's that sort of atmosphere with this. Every movement you make in this, you feel the need to just be, well, I'm coming up with a set of lights, I'll just brake smoother. Oh, I'm pulling off in a second. Well, I don't need to advance particularly quickly. I can if I need to. It encourages you to be a much slower and safer driver. And I think that is something that doesn't get talked about a lot when it comes to car reviews, is what behavior it encourages from the driver itself. Now, one place I know a lot of young drivers tend to fear big cars is car parks like this one we're entering now. Because again, large car must be more difficult to park, right? Well, sort of. See, let's have a go at practicing in this parking bay up ahead. Now here's the thing, it's no more difficult to reverse park this than any other vehicle. Yes, all right, the back has got a bit more of an overhang, but just slightly feather the wheel in, and completely faultlessly, I'm in the space. It's no difficulty at all. Bay parking isn't difficult in this whatsoever. I have, however, just put it into drive, not park. Well done me. It's no difficulty at all. However, what is difficult in this is parallel parking because, yeah, this is a long vehicle. Now, you'll notice back there that Joe has built me a makeshift parking space to reverse park into in a parallel fashion. So let's try and do this without writing off Joe's lovely car, writing off David's lovely car even. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. No, that's a bad angle. I'm going to come at that again. Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay, I'll turn that in now. Okay. Oh, no. Nope. Too far out. Let's try this again. Right, into reverse. I will say it's lovely that the sunshade goes down automatically. That's very nice. Right. Okay, no, that's, I mean, that's in the space. That'll do. After perhaps a slightly embarrassing display of an inability to park, I have moved myself to the back seats to truly enjoy the chauffeur life. Just put it this way, it's not the easiest to parallel park for a younger driver. What I will say is a lot of younger drivers don't necessarily have families and what have you, so you might think, okay, what is the point of having such a big vehicle? Well, if you've got friends, which, okay, admittedly not something I know anything about, but if you've got friends who want to go out for a drink or you want to go for a bit of a road trip somewhere, this is so nice back here. In fact, I'm more comfortable back here than I am in the driving seat, and I am a notoriously bad passenger, as poor Joe will surely attest to. But I'm comfortable, I'm happy, yes, okay, I feel very warm because the aircon still not great back here, but I'm sat in comfort. I have my window shades up so I'm not burning to death. In fact, you notice I'm back in my regular glasses now. This is delightful. Now, despite the fact I am in the back seats, what do I think of it as something to drive? I think it's a wonderful car to drive. Yes, all right, not the easiest thing in the world to parallel park. Neither is the pickup truck I normally drive. It's remarkably comfy in here. It's so refined and quiet, and it's hard to think that this car has done 196,000 miles in any capacity because it's built so well. The build quality, every plastic doesn't, no creak, everything clips in properly, everything opens up properly. Apart from maybe, okay, the window on the driver's side is a bit, what do you call it? And yes, okay, the brakes do very much show the age of the vehicle. And yes, there was a police car. I do apologise for the noise there. You're going to love that in editing, Joe. So what are my overall thoughts on the car? Well, thank you, David. So, what do I think of the LS430 as a car for young drivers? I can't think of a possible worst car to give a young driver. I don't know how you manage this, David. I have an intense respect for you, but wow, it is terrible on fuel and it is very hard to parallel park. If you are a young driver, which generally means a bit poor, not a good idea. But if you can look past that, what a piece of engineering this is. Things from the soft closed doors to the fans just gently wafting as you drive down the street, just to make sure, it's a little bit nice and a little more evenly spread. Every facet of this car, you can tell someone has put some care into the designing of. I love this thing. It's like driving a cloud. Yes, you can feel the weight when you try and brake. By the way, if you want a sort of display of how heavy this is, there's actually a sign in the door that tells you if you're going to tow with this, you might need a tachograph. That's how heavy this is. It's almost a commercial vehicle. But if you can look past that, get one. Look at it. Yes, all right, it's not the most beautiful thing in the world, but it's understated and it's just nice. You'll never know someone with a car with this high a mileage. This is 198,000 miles. You never know anyone with a car this nice at that sort of mileage. It's great. And that's what I think of that one. So, in terms of a wrap-up, good car, awesome. If you've got a car to submit to us and let me drive, message me on Instagram at Mr. Twinspark. Joe, if you could do the fancy thing in the editing suite, that'd be great. Thanks. Message me, let me know where you are, what your availability is, and sort of what car you've got to offer, and we can get back to you, because hopefully we plan on trying every car that gets submitted, because I don't have a lot of friends and I like driving, so... Anyway, till next time, folks. And then what else do I want to talk about here?
Ow.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Now is the time to admit to all my favourite crimes. I do a lot of tax evasion. So that was how to learn it. Yeah. I got really far into it this time before my first there. So I did really well there. That's going at the end of the thing, isn't it? That's great. All right. Pretend I didn't get that wrong. I forgot which space the trolley was in. I found out apparently pineapples are a symbol of swingers.
Yeah, upside down.
Yeah, I didn't know that until my girlfriend told me. I just realised that's recording, isn't it?
That one is, yeah. And your radio mic'd on it.
I'm not a swinger. Yet.
Recording.
Now you'll notice the boot lid itself is already about the size of the deck lid of the words.